This shouldn't be possible on an 8GB GPU. That's full path tracing running at 1440p. And I thought this would completely break the game. Well, it didn't. So I kept pushing until I found the exact point where it does. Path tracing has always been that thing you turn on, watch your FPS die and turn back off. But something about Pragmata felt different. So instead of just chasing FPS, I wanted to figure out how far you can actually push image quality on 8GB without it falling apart. This is that journey. So the first thing I did was just compare ray tracing to path tracing side by side. And at first glance, RT looks sharper, cleaner edges, more defined. You'd probably pick RT here. But look at the reflections, the lighting on the floor, the way shadows fall. Path tracing isn't just better reflections, it's calculating the entire scene's lighting as one system. RT is still faking parts of it. So already the gap is not what I expected. Here's something I noticed with RT though. Look at this floor. That's mirroring that instability. That's the denoiser struggling. Ray tracing can't fully calculate everything, so it has to clean up things after. And sometimes it just breaks like this. And honestly, this is where underlying tech starts to show. Because when this is done properly, you don't see it fall apart like this. And this was the one thing that kept nagging at me, because path tracing doesn't have this problem. So I tried path tracing at 1440p with DLSS performance, and I was expecting it to look like a soup. Well, it didn't. Look at that on 8GB. That's not a mode I expected to actually be usable. But the image is holding together. The lighting is doing exactly what path tracing should do, and it's running. This is the moment the game actually changed for me. Because now, this wasn't just possible, it was usable. But the thing about path tracing is, it lives and dies by its internal resolution. Push DLSS too hard, internal res drops too low, and reconstruction starts to fall apart. You get smearing, instability, detail that just isn't there. So the question became, where's the line? How do you keep path tracing looking decent without crossing it? And this was the other surprise. 1080p path tracing against 1440p ray tracing. More pixels, but somehow less convincing lighting. Because image quality isn't just resolution, it's also what the light is doing. But I have to give you a massive warning. There's a hard limit to this 8GB setup. If you're trying 1440p path tracing and frame generation together on high or medium settings, the game just gives up and it will crash at some point. I hit this wall multiple times. At this point, you're simply asking for more VRAM than the card has. And when that happens, the driver crashes. So if you see this, don't panic. You didn't break anything, you just ran out of room. So after all this testing, I landed on 3 ways to actually run path tracing on 8GB, depending on what you care about most. And mind you, these are 8GB modern laptops or modern GPUs. I wouldn't expect 2070 Super to run path tracing in this game. If you just wanted to see what the engine can actually do, 1440p DLSS performance, path tracing on. This is one that surprised me. 30ish FPS, yeah, but look at it. Every reflection, every light bounce, it's all there. If you're playing something slow paced or cinematic, this is legitimately stunning on 8GB. But if you actually want to play the game, 1080p DLSS frame generation on, path tracing on. 50 to 60 FPS. Look at the reflections, look at the UI clarity. FrameGen brings it to a playable 50 to 60 FPS, path tracing keeps the lighting intact, and DLSS balance keeps reconstruction above the quality floor we talked about. Now if you want 1440p clarity and full path tracing, but you don't like the latency or artifacts of FrameGen, there is a way. 1440p DLSS Ultra Performance, path tracing on, no FrameGen. To make this stable at 1440p on an 8GB card, I found a very specific secret sauce. Diana's hair quality. By dropping this to low, we are drastically reducing the BVH geometry that Path Tracer has to calculate. This frees up just enough amount of VRAM and compute cycles to keep the engine from choking. The result, a stable 60 FPS without frame generation. You get the raw responsive feel of native frame delivery, full path trace lighting and 1440p reconstructed clarity. It's all a small visual sacrifice on the hair for a massive crash-free performance gain. This is the one, and this is how I'd actually play the game. And look, RT isn't bad. It's sharper, more stable, no reconstruction artifacts. But after spending time with path tracing, RT started looking like a version of the game that's missing something. The denoiser issue don't help either. RT is the safe option, path tracing just feels more complete, but you have to work for it. One more thing, all of this changes depending on the screen. On a 27-inch monitor, you'll feel every effect, every difference I talked about. On a 16-inch laptop panel, honestly, everything looks kinda great. I came into this expecting path tracing to be a checkbox feature on 8GB, something you turn on for screenshots and turn off for actual playing, but it's not. The 1440p results genuinely surprised me, the sweet spot mode genuinely surprised me. You're not choosing between good and bad here, you're choosing between different kinds of good. 8GB isn't the limitation I thought it was, and honestly, that surprised me the most.